Okay, good morning in the West and good afternoon in the East. Thank you for joining us, which is our fourth installment of the CIMCO webinar series that we've been doing. And this one is on Simco MDM, the manufacturing document management. So I wanted to quickly touch on I guess some differences and some similarities between NC base and MDM. We get asked this question quite a bit, so I kind of wanted to put down a few points here. NC base was the last webinar we did, so if you attended that, you'll see some similarities, but you'll also see some differences as we go through the webinar, and Andre gets into the actual presentation. I just got a couple slides here on the PowerPoint, but let's get started. So with NC base, you have revision and permission control with NC files and some of the related documents. You cannot create custom workflows per se, but NC base does have customization, and it works within a specific set of boundaries that are already set up out of the box. What you can do is send and receive NC files to the shop floor and CNC machines. And that's the similarity between NC base and MDM. And then where the differences come in with MDM is your revision and permission control on all manufacturing documents and files. So NC files, MCAM files, CAD files, so on and so forth. You can create custom workflows. Andre will touch on that a little bit. And the customization aspect of MDM is almost limitless. It really depends on your needs and requirements. So as an example, if you picture a filing cabinet, NC base will allow you to open, say, one of the drawers, whereas MDM will allow you to open all of the drawers. Just a quick little summary on some of the things here. What I will touch on, like I said, Andre will dive into a little bit deeper. But MDM, sort of in a nutshell, will replace your Windows Explorer altogether. All your data is in one spot, and you have the ability to, control, so users can delete files, documents, things like that. You can have a healthy search engine for all the documents relating to your specific projects that you're working on. You have the ability to create user rights. You have the ability to create groups here. So administrators, operators, programmers, supervisors, and then you can define the users within that group. Further down here is where you have all the permissions that you can allow each user or each group. And then, of course, which machines, groups can see or users can see can be very specified. So you can add files to user-defined levels. It allows you to, well, like it says here, infinite amount of custom levels, and you can add those levels to, when you add these files, you can generate a file name. So as you can see here, we're doing a little bit of an import, and what it's doing is actually creating a defined sort of file name structure that you would like within your company. You have the ability, as you're in your client viewer, as you hover or highlight on a specific file, what you will see is a bit of a preview generated on the right-hand side. You can, again, further represent your company structure as it be on the shop floor. So the setup, if you have a group of machines, you can define the layout and where everything goes, just as it would be on your shop floor. As I mentioned, NC base MDM, you have the ability to send directly. So if you're working within the MDM client, you can send a program straight out to the machine as you're going through your daily routine. And this is it's actually a real neat function. You have the ability to change the status, of different levels according to your workflows. So what you can do is you can regulate with these statuses. You can regulate the access rights of a specific file. You can inform the users about the status changes. You can enable, transmission, and so much more. So one of the things, as an example, that you could do is you could have a status set up that if you open up an MCAM file and you're working on it, you can have that MDM take control and actually lock that specific NC file tied to that. So what that means is nobody can post any code until you're done working on that MCAM file and then repost your next NC. And MDM works with, third party. So as an example, with Mastercam, you can, if you're working in the MDM client, you can launch and open up Mastercam and look at that file and work on it, and vice versa. If you're in Mastercam, you can do the same thing and send stuff over to MDM. Okay, that's it for me. Now we can get on to Andre, and he can dive into some specific examples here.
All right, so let me pick a good screen. All right, so you see my screen okay?
It is up now, yes.
Yes, great. So, so this is the opening interface of CIMCO MDM. So same way as with the NC-based product that we demoed a couple of weeks ago, we actually need to log in initially to see all the beauty that the software can offer. So I'm going to log in right now as a CAM user, which is not as powerful user as an admin that I've set up, but has a right to add and delete a few files here and there. So this is the main working interface of CIMCO MDM. So to the main difference to compared to NC-based, when you start it up, you would see all the files you have in there, and then you would narrow it down with the search engine to the specific one that you want to see. In MDM, it's the opposite. So basically, it shows you nothing up until you make a search query, and then it will show you or allow you to pick within whatever search results that you have. So if I pick, for example, this part here, it's going to open it up, and then I'll be able to see every files that are being saved or associated to this particular part number. So the way I've defined my structure in here is my initial level is the part number. Then I go with revision number, operation, and then I have my Mastercam file and I have my machining file. So in here I have my tool list that is generated automatically from the Mastercam file. I have the operation list. I have a setup sheet that can be created as well automatically from the Mastercam file. I have my NC file here, and so on. So that's basically how I have my configuration set up. But as Lee mentioned, these levels or sub levels in here are quite limitless, and you can choose up front how you want it to be defined. So if you'd rather have the customer up front and then the part number and so on, we can go that way, or you can have part number, customer, or revision, or different operations. So you can choose which type of file goes into which level, and we can configure all that as you go. So just to give you a quick rundown on how how the steps will be going through in here. So let's just dive in and add a new file. So let's call it MDM Webinar. Go. So it's going to add it in here. And then I'm just going to add a revision because that's my second level here. So let's say it's revision A. And in here, it will automatically create my first operation. Okay. But before I dive into the operation, I'm just going to drag a CAD file. So it's a SolidWorks file. I'm just going to drag it into my revision and say I want to add a CAD file. So then it's going to ask me If I want to import it in that proper directory, that's defined automatically, and ask me if I want to copy the file or move it so that it's not available anymore on my local computer and only into the MDM database. So as of now, I'm just going to use it as a copy, but I'll keep my Mastercam file within the MDM database. So I'm just going to add that here. And then I have my CAD file here. So if I right click on that file, I can open it up and it will recognize that it's a SolidWorks file. It will open it up directly into SolidWorks. And if wanted, I could save it back to the version, close it. And here, I'll just check the file in and then I'll see I want to save. Then I'll have the second version of that same file. So if I look at the log, I'll have the moment it's been created or imported and the moment it's been changed, okay? And then next up, I want to program this file. So I'm just going to open it up into Mastercam right here. So it imports my file directly. So I'll just do a couple of quick manipulations here so that we can see some of the other stuff. So I'm going to get in here. I'm just going to go machine, mill. The proper post. Go. So here I am, and I'll just throw in a really quick toolpath. This here. I'll disregard a bit the settings. All I want is just toolpath in here. So what I'll do is I'll just save the file into here. So I'll save it into the database. Now it's gonna notice that I have saved the file into the temporary folder of the MDM. So it's gonna ask me what I want to do with it. So I want to save it under the revision, the operation 1, and I want to move the file into the database. So okay, now the Mastercam file has been saved within the MDM database, and it recognizes that the file's been already checked out, so it's open somewhere by someone. Okay. Now, next up, once this is saved within here, I have this set of tools that are it's basically 2 C-hooks that are made by Simco to interact with the MDM product. So right now what I can do is just say I want to exchange the tools with Simco MDM, and what this will do is it will automatically create the machine group because I've associated the machine group to the specific post processor. So it recognizes the machine it's been working with and creates a proper machine group with the tool list extracted from the Mastercam file, the operation list, and a setup sheet, which for now is blank. But I have this option here where I can just add some more screenshot to it. So I'll just get back to my Mastercam file. So I'm just gonna add a few different screenshots to my setup sheet here. So let's just grab a third one here, and then I'm gonna look at what I have had so far. Just gonna expand that a bit. And let's say I wanna take this one and add some text saying, hey, that's, sorry, text is here. So that's my origin. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that here, and I'll just pop in an arrow saying, hey, this here. I'll just rotate the arrow like that. There we go. And I'm gonna save this change, close this window, and then if I go back into my MDM interface, now I look at my setup sheet, it has automatically added all the screenshots that I've taken from my part to this setup sheet. And if I'd like to change the name here of the picture, they're all available here. So I can just come in here and change the name here. So let's call it picture. Okay, and then if I go back to my setup sheet, it will change the name of my picture here. Next up, we want to add the NC file to this. So I'm just going to post out my program. Simple stuff. Oh, that's my new file here. It's all good. 118. I'll just close this. And then I'll hit that import NC files to queue. Oh, sorry, my bad. Just need to put back to machine level. So I want to add this to this machine group. It will automatically recognize the last location of where I've generated the code of my NC file. And I'll say just OK. And now my NC file is inserted here. Every file that I've added has been identified by which user has been working on, which revision number is associated to it, right? And now what I can do is say, well, for example, I want to send this file to the machine now that it's all good. So I'll just change the status of the file saying, hey, this file is ready to be used. And I'm going to send it to the machine. I'm going to send it to this machine. So what I'll do is I'll just show you quickly. I have my DNC Max client here. I'm just going to clear the log. And as soon as I hit send here, we'll see the log saying, hey, we've just received the file and it's been saved in that specific folder, which is on the machine itself. So now, if I open that file here and I make some modifications, so let's say I delete that for any reason, so I'm just going to save this back, and I'm going to open up this folder here. And Lee mentioned something about the workflow earlier. So one of the workflow or automated sequence, so the workflow in MDM is just another word for automated sequence or automation. So one of the workflow we have is that it will automatically monitor this folder here. So it had just checked the content here. So bear with me, it's going to take about 1 minute. It's going to find out that there's a change in that folder, and eventually we'll get the file out of that. There we go. So that's a part of the automation. And if I get back into my MDM, what we'll see is that my NC file is now locked instead of being ready. Why is that? Because there's a new revision, a new potential revision of the file. So a file has been sent back from the machine with edits into it. So we automatically lock the file so that we cannot send it back to the machine as long as we didn't either reject or accept the changes. On top of that, I've made MDM create or send me a message whenever there's a file that needs to be checked. So I've received an email here from MDM saying, hey, this file, so MDM Webinar Contour 1.eia, so that's my file here, needs to be checked. So if I go back into my interface here, go database, import queue, and then I'll find a list of all the files that have been marked to be imported. And then I can use the compare tool, or sorry, the compare function. It will open up my Simco edit, and then I'll be able to see what's the original file and what's the updated file. And I'm free to choose whether I want to keep the new version or not. So if I do, I just say accept the file. There we go. And then I have the comments that I can put in. So changes accepted. Just hit OK on that. And then if I refresh that, I will have version 2, and now my status is back to ready. Okay, so the status change has been done automatically. And now if I look at the log, I have my 2 different versions here. I have workflow that have been identified here, and so on. So, so that's pretty interesting in that aspect here. So something else that is really interesting is the fact that not all the users have the same rights, right? We touched base on that in the in Lee's part of the presentation. So in order to demonstrate that, I'll just pop open the web client interface. So this is from Google Chrome. So you can go directly to the web page of the web client, or if you have, if you're working with Google, there's a way, it won't show here, but you can install some kind of a shortcut interface, which is the same thing, but without the browser header in here, and it will show up into your Chrome apps here as the web client. But they both do exactly the same thing. So right now on this web browser, I'm connected as the NC user, which obviously has a lot less rights than the CAM user would have. And one thing we can see, so if I do search, I'm gonna pick a couple of the files. So let's take MDM webinar here. I'm gonna add the result to the list. So what we see here is the exact same structure, but if you notice, I cannot see the CAD file and I cannot see the CAM file either. All I see is what is relevant to the machine level. So the operation list, it takes a while, but it loads up the PDF here. I can see the setup sheet with the pictures, and I can see the NC file, and I can also send the file to the machine from here. Oh, no, that's the download, sorry. If I want to send a file, it's over here. Send a file to that specific machine, and there we go. So file has been sent a second time to the machine. So that's from the web client directly. So you can add as many levels as you want. So you can have an inspection level, you can have a CMM level, you can have whatever kind of structure and create as many users group as you want, and just make sure that those users only see the information that is relevant to them and not to the others. Some other things that are really nice. So for example, I'm done with my Mastercam file, so I'm just gonna check it back in. So I'm just gonna check in the file. So I'm gonna save the file, and it's gonna say, hey, the file is not saved in Mastercam, so the check-in is canceled. All good. I know I haven't changed anything, so I'm just gonna reject the save file. So it's gonna automatically close it from the Mastercam interface, and we're all good in here. One thing that is neat, for example, you're looking to improve some things about your tooling, and you may look up for a different tool supplier, and you want to know how many programs or how many part numbers are going to be impacted by the change of a specific tool. So you can make a search either by tool name or by tool number. So for example, if I'm looking for the tool 287, so I'm going to search for that, and it's going to sort me all the Mastercam file or all the part number that somehow uses the tool 287. And then I can make decisions. Either I modify the, well, I know which program needs to be modified to accommodate for this change that I want to do in my tooling. So let me just quickly look up at my notes, see if I missed something that I absolutely wanted to show you. I think I covered it, most of it. Yep. Lee, is there anything that you think I have overlooked?
No, I think you've covered it quite well. Obviously, you can drill down a lot deeper, but as an overall,
Yep.
perfect. I think it's great.
Yeah, the only thing I could show more, for example, would be to, for example, make a revision of any NC file and restore an older file, for example. That would be the only thing left, I think.
Mm-hmm. We can open it up to questions, or if you wanted to quickly do that, you can.
Yeah. Well, I can do it while people may want to add some questions if they have some. So I have this file here that has 2 versions into it. So I'm just gonna right click on that file. See, there we go. And I'm gonna look for, where is it? Restore. So, oh, my bad, wrong user. User doesn't have the right to restore, so I'll just log in as the admin. Go. And I'll search for the same file here. So webinar, there we go. So I have my contour, and I'll just hit restore. Then I'll have the list of all the different versions of the same files. Right now I only have one. So again, I can compare two files, or I can just hit it and restore, and then just say restore old version back. And okay, restore, close the window, and now it's identified as version 3, but if I look at the log, it says that we are restoring old version, version 1. And that's about it. So you have this restore functionality for both for most of the files here. So you can restore the CAD file, you can restore the Mastercam file. So anything you need here, everything that you track can be either backed up or restored.
Perfect. So yeah, if anybody had any questions, you can either type it in either the question or the chat box, or if you prefer, we can unmute. You can put your hand up. There's a little hand button. You can flip the hand up, and we can unmute you, and we can answer any questions you might have. Other than that, I think that covers it well, and we can sign off. Yeah, it's not looking like we have any questions, so that's good. We can wrap it up. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks for all the folks that joined us through the whole CIMCO webinar series. Obviously, I think our next webinars, well, potentially our next ones will be more rollouts with MC25 being released very soon. So keep your eyes peeled on your emails. I'll certainly send out invites as we create a schedule. But yeah, if there's no other questions, thank you for attending. Thank you, Andre, for the presentation.
My pleasure.
We'll see you all soon.